What is an eating disorder? Is it a walking skeleton who never eats? Or someone who eats everything in the kitchen and then purges it all up? Is it someone who excessively exercises to burn off every calorie they've consumed? I state it's much more complex than the typical picture we see. The mental torture that goes on inside the mind of an individual with an eating disorder is so complex, a simple sentence can't describe it. If only you really truly knew the pure excruciation of the pain that a sufferer puts their body and mind through, just so they can numb the pain of the world, or have some sort of control in a planet that seems so out of control. Some people can make eating disorders seem so glamorous, which is so far from the reality when you're actually suffering or close to someone who's suffering. An eating disorder is so complex. It's someone lying in a hospital bed being restrained to be tube fed. It's where your hair falls out in clumps and fur-like hair grows around your body just to keep you warm. It's where you're sectioned in a psychiatric ward whilst begging them to let you go. It's where you're so cold to the bone, even when the sun is out, you can't heat up. It's when your teeth are noticeably eroding away, that is, the ones that haven't already fallen out due to excessive purging. Wait, there's more. There's that humiliated face when someone has caught you scraping through the bin, desperate to find more binge food. Or when you've bought £40 worth of binge food that you wouldn't dare anyone else see because the shame you feel. Or the constant hospital visits because your electrolytes have plummeted once again. So you have to get bags of IV fluids just to normalise them to keep your heart from failing. Or when you've had another accident in public due to the amount of laxatives you've consumed on a daily basis. Or when you've damaged your body so much that you end up with osteoporosis, heart or organ damage. Most importantly, all of these complications can occur at a healthy weight. Eating disorders kill at any weight, and it's needed, and help is needed and deserved whatever stage the sufferer is at. If you aren't in recovery from an eating disorder, you're dying from one. Who could ever glamorise this? A true, torturous mental illness that is not always visible to the eye. It's where an individual feels so much hate and disgust towards oneself, they punish themselves. It's where they can look in the mirror and genuinely see something totally different than what everyone else sees. It's a living hell. Complete and utter torture. It doesn't make sense and is completely different for each individual suffering. I say suffering because I truly mean suffering. It's not something you choose, and ironically, it's not something you can control. It's out of the sufferer's control. It's a minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day pain. It's not something that you can explain because it doesn't make sense. If only it was as easy as just to eat. Eating disorders don't discriminate. It affects boys and girls, men and women of any age, race or sexuality. It can affect anyone at any time and can creep up on its victim when you least expect it. It's a messy illness that steals your independence and life. It's a killer, and it can kill anyone at any time, at any weight. Weight is just one factor of an ever continuous list of struggles. You look well and healthy is a statement that literally translates to a sufferer as you look fat. Don't ask me why, because it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't we want to look well? But we don't. Yet we do, but we don't. See, it just doesn't make sense. We may look well to the eye, but be suffering excruciatingly behind closed doors. It's such a secretive illness that the sufferers usually don't want people to know the secrets that lie behind closed doors. It's an illness that destroys a family, It's a family illness. No matter how strong a family is, it can drag everyone down with it. It's so painful watching someone you absolutely adore hurt themselves, helplessly knowing that there's nothing you can do but watch. That can be more painful than the sufferer experiencing the illness themselves. To care for someone struggling can create so much tension, hurt, and anger. Really, all a loved one can do is keep loving them, be patient, listen to them, and keep trying to understand. The more a family member tries to push to help, the more a sufferer can run away. The person suffering has to be ready to make the change, and sadly, no one can do it for them. Eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness out there. 1 in 5 sufferers will die, either by suicide, malnutrition, or organ failure. That's the reality of it. It's scary once you're in the world of knowing people with eating disorders, how many people you start to lose. It's an illness that needs to be taken seriously. It's not as simple as eating. The mind of an eating disorder is so complex, even sufferers can't explain it. It's got so many complexities and contradictions, I don't think we'll ever be able to explain it in a simple sentence. It's a debilitating mental illness that can be hidden for years. I hope people can learn to be more understanding about eating disorders and how they work, because the more people understanding and that are ready to listen, the more the sufferer will talk. This is Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and this is just one person's way of helping people to understand and not judge someone suffering. Please try to understand that an eating disorder is an illness, not a diet gone wrong. Thank you.